Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to talk about one thing that is all over the news and all over social media right now, and that's Brittany Pettibone, Lauren Southern, and whatever that other dude's name is, being held in detention in the UK. If you like what I do here, throw a subscription down on the channel, throw a like on the video, and check out my links. With that said, guys, what we have recently is Lauren Southern, the more important of the three situations that occurred, was held under the Terrorism Act of 2000 by UK police. Now, this act does not allow a person to receive legal representation, does not allow them to receive their phone call within the first hour. They cannot remain silent. Silent is almost as bad as an admission of guilt. They have to be willing to speak, and they have to be willing to basically defend themselves if they're accused of some sort of terrorist act or suspected of terrorism.
Hi everyone, I'm talking to Canadian journalist Lauren Southern, who has recently refused entry to the UK on the grounds that she was some kind of extremist.
Motherfucker, that don't even make no goddamn sense.
It's been quite difficult to actually pass exactly what's happened, so luckily I've got Lauren to speak to. Hi Lauren, how are you doing?
All things considered, pretty good.
Great. So would you like to give us a rundown of what's happened to you?
So I was planning to go to the UK to meet up with a couple of friends of mine and do an interview for Tommy Robinson's YouTube channel, but a few days before I went to go to the UK, I heard that my friends Brittany Pettibone and Martin Zellner had been banned from the country on grounds that they were basically right-wing and going to stir up, I guess, people could be violent against them, or they were going to stir up some sort of right-wing extremism or hatred. So when I was heading into the UK, I was a little nervous. I went by bus through Calais. I figured maybe that would be the easiest way to get in, considering all of the hundreds and hundreds of illegal migrants that come that way on the bottom of lorries and such.
Well, I mean, it's probably not the most comfortable journey, but I think you could make it.
Right, so we got our bus to the border, like right at that spot where they take you over to Dover over the water, and they were scanning our passports. We had all gotten off the bus, and they scanned mine, and the guy looked down, gave me a double take, and asked me a couple more questions, then said he had to go phone someone and take more checks of my passport. And at this point, I was like, and so it begins.
You have Lauren Southern, who is a right-wing conservative Christian who has done some, I think they're hilarious things in response to what the far left is putting out when it comes to Vice talking about Jesus is gay.
Jesus Christ.
All this craziness, and yet she does a cultural and thought experiment and says Allah is gay, and now she is classified as a racist.
You're a racist.
Because of that. Now, that's not what they initially detained her on. They detained her because they did not want her coming into the country in order to find a reason to ban her from the country. Now, her father was called, as she said, and told was being held under the Terrorism Act. And you gotta think, that's gotta scare the shit out of anyone's parent. And to think that not because there was some sort of incident, but because she's suspected of this, because of her right-leaning conservative Christian beliefs, she is now a suspected terrorist in the UK? Like, where do you draw the line?
They bring me to a detention center. I get in there. It's pretty shabby, a little gross, but they've got a nice Quran there and a Bible and instructions in Arabic all over. And I sat in there. Then they brought me in for questioning, asked me about a speech I did in Belgium recently, a few other things, then sent me back in. This seemed like all pretty normal stuff. I figured I was just going to have a Brittany and Martin happen to me until I got a knock on the detention center door.
What's the password?
Someone comes in and they say, we're handing you over to the Kent police. I'm like, what does this mean? And a man comes up to me and he hands me this piece of paper, which I've doodled all over, that says Schedule 7 Terrorism Act of 2000. And I just kind of look at it and look up at him, and he says, I have to let you know you are being now detained and taken in for questioning under the Schedule 7 Terrorism Act.
What did they charge you with? Like, what were they interrogating you about?
Number 15, Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you'd want in your Burger King burger is someone's foot fungus, but as it turns out, that might be what you get. A 4chaner uploaded a photo anonymously to the site showcasing his feet in a plastic bin of lettuce with the statement, "This is the lettuce you eat at Burger King."
This is the fascinating thing. I tried asking them that multiple times, and they couldn't tell me anything. I hadn't been charged with anything at this point. They hadn't told me why I was being detained. And
in the past of the UK, when Christianity was trying to forge its way through the world, Britain would send people out to the Crusades. They'd send people out to convert people and fight a holy war. But now, if you have Christian beliefs in the country, you are now an extremist. You're a Christian extremist. But, this is also the country that will let ISIS fighters come back into the country and be embraced full-heartedly by the country. Where's the logic? There are crazy Christians and massive extremists out there, but really, that's not Lauren Southern, because she makes a social experiment and says Allah is gay, she is now racist, when it's just an experiment to see how the left would respond when they're doing the same exact thing and saying Jesus may have been gay.
here's what you need to know. You have to give us all your things. You will not be able to go on your phone. You have one last contact thing you can make.
Excuse me? You're under arrest, okay? What? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you do or say can be used, what's the next word? As a flotation device. As a flotation device. Oh, you know what? That's very funny.
So I went and I quickly texted a journalist friend of mine, and then they brought me in, took all of my stuff, demanded my phone code, and brought me into a tiny room with a recording device on the table and began the Terrorism Act interrogation, which, by the way, for people who don't know, there is no such thing as you have the right to remain silent under Schedule 7. I do not have the right to remain silent under Schedule 7, and I do not have the right to legal advice within the first hour, and even after that, they can deny me legal advice and counsel.
So it goes against you if you refuse to say anything.
Here's what they said to me. You have to give us your phone code.
Hey, let me see your phone for a second.
Okay. Time's up. There's 1 second.
That's not what I meant.
That's what I meant.
What?
What we learned.
Under Schedule 7 Terrorism Act. And I said, nope, I'm not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Not happening, not giving you my phone code. Because I know I've made, like, edgy jokes. Like, hey boys, who's part of the right-wing death squads, you know?
Yeah.
Like, shitposts, you know? I'm like, I'm not showing you my cell phone. I'm sorry. And they said, okay, so what's going to happen is either we can make this a happy and fun and fast investigation, or you can deny us your cell phone code, and what we're going to do is we're going to take your cell phone for a week, we're going to send it into our hackers, they're going to break into it and download all of its contents, and we're going to go through all of it for weeks and weeks and weeks and find out what you have on there. And on top of that, we're going to be able to put you away and take your blood and have to take pictures of you and put down your fingerprints, and it's going to be a miserable experience for you. Or you can just tell us the code now and we'll go through it in the other room. And I sat there for a second and I was like, I remember that case in America where they couldn't get into that guy's Apple phone and Apple refused them the information. Mm-hmm. I don't think they can actually hack into my phone. Yes. I think they're bullshitting right now.
I agree.
So I looked up and I said, basically, do it, faggot. Like, go ahead. You know, I was like, go ahead, take my phone home for 7 days. It's fine. Put me away. Take my blood. I don't care. I want legal representation. And they were just like, you could tell it threw off their entire plan.
Yeah.
Like it just threw it off entirely, so that is something I was very happy. They never got into my phone.
Right.
Never. They never took it for 7 days, any of that. That was
So it was all just hot air.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. And for them to hold her for, hours on end, and Brittany Pettibone for, 3 days, how long are they holding these extremists from ISIS? Are they being held to the same standard that they just held some Christian right-wing conservatives to? That's the question. I don't know the answer, but my sentiments is probably not. Because the UK, which is one of our biggest allies, I guarantee you the average normal person in the UK would be appalled by this. The fact that she didn't have the right to remain silent, which is a tenement of their police standards, just like here in the US, she did not have that right because she was suspected of terrorism. The fact that they were trying to force their way into her cell phone by requesting the PIN so they could get in and look at whatever. I mean, not only is that, you could call it sexual harassment. The left could call it sexual harassment because what if she has nudes on there and you have these, police officers just going through her pictures and looking at her nudes, sexually harassing her in the left's eyes. But because she is right-wing conservative, she loses her rights. I am glad to hear that she did not give them her password, that she did not allow them to try and find some meme or some shit post to back up their claims of she is a Christian extremist.
Checked in on the recording device. We kept going a little bit, and then someone barged into the room basically and said, "This is over," and the investigation into her. We just got a call from the UK Border Enforcement, UKB or whatever, UKBF, I'm not sure what it's called. Mm-hmm. End the investigation, bring her out, we're done with you. It was really bizarre, they just ended it abruptly and then put me back in detention. So that was about 3 hours with the proper police, and then I went back for an hour in the detention. I was with them for about 6 hours in total, which is how long they can hold me. And then they came in and they had gotten the order. Got it right here, where I was banned. And it says I was banned because I present a threat to the fundamental interests of the United Kingdom and for racist distribution of leaflets and leaflets.
Sorry, I'm sorry. No one can see that because the Skype call is terrible. I do apologise, everyone. We're doing our best in a short situation. But the idea that you are a threat to the fundamental interests of the United Kingdom, Lauren, is absurd. I just can't...
As you saw in her interview with Sargon of Akkad, she goes through what she went through, the way it was held. You can tell she's kind of laughing and giggling because the situation is so weird that she had to be put through. It's almost a defense mechanism, is what I see it as. She's scared about the situation, but she's using the laughing and the giggling as a defense mechanism to keep herself from freaking out too much. The questions they asked her, are you a Christian extremist? Come on, man.
Yay, look upon me and know me. My children, you should know something. I'm packing. Let's go!
How do you feel about people running over people with trucks, primarily Muslims? Really? Who would feel good about that? And if they do say they support it and feel good about it, those are the fools you shouldn't let in your country. Anyone who feels good about the loss of life are ignorant assholes, and they're the extremists. But no. Bring the extremists in who do crazy things, who hurt people, and welcome them back with open arms when they're out fighting in their crusade.
I know religion's important and all, but I think you might be taking it
in, random countries, Syria, Iran, Iraq, wherever.
Build that wall. Build that wall.
But you know what? Go ahead and go after the conservatives. Go after the Christians. I am a middle ground agnostic, and you are making yourselves look like idiots. If you did it to a person of a minority religion or a religion, Buddhism, Muslim, or pardon me, Islam, you would be promoting hate speech. You would be Islamophobe. You would be some sort of phobia, but because it's a right-wing, conservative Christian, it's okay.
Are you saying that Islam is wrong? Well, yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's so Islamophobic.
No.
That's racist. So racist.
It's not racist.
You know, you hear about this kind of intolerance, but to actually experience it in person.
UK, get your shit together. The Conservative Party is in power over there. What does your Conservative Party look like if that's the stance you have? Are you really a left-leaning party, but you're not so far left that you're the progressives? Just because someone is slightly right of you does not mean that they want hate speech, that they want to promote racism, that they're looking to start some sort of terrorist action or be extremist. Pull your shit together. The government of UK, your citizens would be appalled and are appalled by your actions. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you taking the time. And credit to the video of Sargon interviewing Lauren Southern. And if you want to see that, links are below to that. If you like what I do here, throw a subscription on the channel. It does help out. I also have my Patreon in my links below and every other social media tool I do use. And thank you for watching, guys. And you know what? Don't be conservative, don't be Christian, and expect to get into the UK. It's just not going to happen these days. Damn morons!
Hey, moron!
Hey, moron! Red 30!
Sorry.